Hi everyone, it's the 24th of April and it's the end of the first week of term 2 where we've started with home learning. Again, I meet with teachers every day and they're contacting parents every day and I'm hearing some really great feedback from the parents. One of the concerns or issues I guess parents have a little bit of anxiety about is when teachers are calling like a number of times during the week and some of you are saying, I'm fine, I don't need you to call back. Just so that you know, I have asked teachers to regularly contact all families and just check in and just ask if there's anything that they need or any explanations or anything like that. So don't feel like we're trying to invade your home and check whether you're doing the work. It is purely from a support perspective that sometimes we can't know which of you are comfortable to ring and ask for help, which of you might be a little bit anxious about calling the school. The other thing is maybe sometimes people have tried and then haven't been able to get through. So there's a range of things which I can't anticipate. So my response to that has been to tell teachers to keep making contact with parents. If there's nothing to add, look, that's fine. Just say, look, we're all good and leave it at that. You don't need to have a long conversation or feel like because, we've given you a call that it's going to be rude. Just say, look, I'm good, kids are fine, and can we talk another time and that'll be enough. So don't stress about that either. Like I said, it's not a time I want people to be stressing about things. I simply want all students to know that learning is important and we don't just learn when we're at school, and if there's no school, there's no learning. Some of the richest life lessons are learned away from school. So I know when we're talking about people learning about values, about some social skills, sometimes about the environment, there's no richer learning experience than learning about a place. Let's say, for example, we're learning about Ayers Rock, or we're learning about Kakadu National Park. There's going to be no richer learning thing than actually going there. So we need to remember that learning is not just about being in a classroom at a school, that actually it happens in school and out of school, and is actually learning is just part of life in general. So it's an opportunity amidst our difficult circumstances to actually do something for our kids in terms of a foundation of understanding that all life is about learning, because they've probably been led to believe, because of their life experiences to date, that learning is about going to school, and that's really not what we want them to understand in the long term. So even those of you who are essential workers and your kids are coming to school, then I would still encourage you to be looking at the home learning packs and doing some of the activities. Maybe that's on a weekend, maybe that's in an afternoon, maybe if you're a shift worker, it's in the evening. I would strongly encourage you, even if you are working as an essential worker, that you spend some time looking through the home learning packs and picking one or two things that you could do during the week so that the students know that they're doing learning at home and that it's not just about them going to school. The other thing is for them to feel part of their cohort or their group. But one of the things is I guess we have increased rates of anxiety and mental health issues in the community, and some of those are from isolation. And that doesn't necessarily mean physical isolation. Sometimes it can simply be that they feel isolated because they feel left out of what everyone else is doing. Some of the kids who are going to school at the moment, because they're a small portion of our whole school community, might feel like, well, how come I'm not doing what the other kids are doing? Or, I'm sort of different to them now because they're learning at home and I'm at school. So I think it's important from a whole range of reasons that all kids, whether they're children of the essential workers who are coming to school or they're children who are doing home learning for the whole week, everybody I think should do some of the home learning packs regardless of their circumstances, just to lay that foundation for lifelong learning in the future. But look, first I've got to say congratulations to everybody. It's not an easy thing to jump straight into this without having a lead up and preparation time. And that's why, if you remember at the start of this week, I said use this week as like an orientation week, or a week to learn about what works best and what doesn't, and don't get too hung up on trying to do everything. We had a parent, I'll give you an example, I had a parent yesterday who was talking to one of our teachers and has already done like about 60% of that home learning pack by Thursday lunchtime, and was saying, look, my child's really frustrated today and having some trouble getting her to do the work and sitting down and doing stuff today. And the teacher said, well, what are you up to? And she told the teacher, and the teacher went, whoa, hang on a minute. You don't have to charge through and finish everything and make sure that you're ahead of time in case something happens next week. Have a break, like take the rest of the day and even maybe tomorrow, because you already passed through that, the amount that you needed to do. And maybe if you want to do something on a weekend, it's also not just to say you just have to do it Monday to Friday. The thing is, do what works for you, do the amount that works for you, and the teacher check-in is to have a discussion and say, well, this is all we could get through so far, so what should I do now? Should I try and finish all of that rest of that next week, or there are certain bits you think I should focus on and make a priority? So that's just a little advice and reflection at the end of the week. The other thing which I want to turn my attention to is ANZAC Day. And ANZAC Day is going to be very different this year, and it's very important to acknowledge that ANZAC Day is not cancelled. It's just that the public gatherings are cancelled, and there's a big distinction. So ANZAC Day is still happening, and I'm really hoping that it's probably going to be one of our biggest ANZAC Days where more people participate, because you can participate from home. And in case you're wondering, when is it on TV? What should I be doing? Then here's some information for you for tomorrow. So first of all, I think the coverage starts on the ABC TV and radio at 5:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. So if you want to switch your TVs on at that time, that'll hook you into the coverage. What we've been asked to do to celebrate ANZAC Day is to hold a service in our driveways. And the time for that tomorrow is 6 o'clock. So what we're being asked to do is go out to our driveways tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock and maybe have the radio on, maybe the TV, maybe you might live stream it on an iPad or on your phone. But basically the service goes something along the lines of, first of all, there's the ode, which is read out. Then there is the playing of the last post. Following the playing of the last post, there is a minute silence, then there's Reveille, and then probably both the national anthems are played. And in that time, it would be good if everybody could be out on their driveway and participating in that process, and with the radio, TV, or some live streaming. In terms of preparing for that, you may do an activity where the kids make a wreath, a poster, or put a message on the front gate or fence for the veterans, and hopefully we'll probably see some news people driving around taking photos and doing videos that we can actually then show to the veterans that they're not forgotten at this time. And it's really important to pay our respects to the veterans, not just the ANZACs, but everyone who's fought in any war to give us the sort of lifestyle which we've become accustomed to, and probably at this point in time are appreciating more than ever. So let's all participate in that. Finally, just to be personal in regards to ANZAC Day, one of our staff, Mrs. Darman, who's the Head of Special Education Services in the Hub, her son Greg has served some tours in both East Timor and also a couple in Afghanistan, I believe. So shout out to you, Greg. There's a picture of him here for people to have a look. And we want to thank Greg and also his family for the service that he's done for our country, and also for any relatives or family members of anyone who's part of our school community, and of course anyone who is part of the ANZACs who have fought bravely for Australia over the course of history. So thank you to everyone, and in particular shout out to Greg and the other families who are connected with veterans from our school community. So thank you, and I hope tomorrow is a really great day for our war veterans, and that we acknowledge them and they feel that despite us not having the large gatherings, that they are still being remembered and respected and thanked for all that they've done for us. I'll see you next week.